child is friendly with someone and they want to bring them home, it's not the time for you to say no. In those days they say man and a woman cannot be friends, just besties, because they can be tempted. Yes, we all know that. But you see, if it is even in the dark, that's worse.
According to what's the bigdata.com, 30% of today's world population is made up by Gen Z. And these Gen Z people, they are as creative and they are smart on the one hand, and they can also pull the rug on you on the other hand. Gen Zs, according to experts, they say that they have rewritten a lot of rules, these Gen Z people. So, with me in the studio discussing parenting Gen Zs is a mother of five. I call them Five Nations. She's a writer, she has authored 10 books. She used to be a practicing lawyer, a banker, and now an MC extraordinaire. Please welcome to the studio Mrs. Chinyere Iwala Obiobasi. Welcome, ma.
Thank you.
Welcome to
very
the
much.
Humans of Abuja today.
Thank you very
How
much.
has Abuja been treating you?
Well, I'm enjoying the town. When I got into Abuja, you can't believe it. I wrote to all my friends, if you can't come to Abuja, come and enjoy good road, come and enjoy clean air, come and enjoy security, sleep well at night. And so I think I like Abuja.
Wow. And your experience when you came to Abuja and now, how would you compare the experiences?
Well, life is all, changes and adaptability. And so if you're in a place, as the changes go, you begin to adapt. Of course, security is not like before because the population has increased. So you don't expect the same things that happened when the population was need to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the new normal is for you to protect yourself, for you to mind how you go out when you come back, then just abide. But all the same, the very basic things that I loved about Abuja, provision of amenities and good roads and fine weather, and the fact that I can leave my house 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and I'm where I want to go.
Right here.
So those things are still there. So, but the changes, you just adapt.
So yeah, telling the audience, please come to Abuja and be a human of Abuja. Welcome, ma.
Yes,
welcome.
Abuja has a lot to offer.
Yeah. So the topic of today, parenting Gen Zs. You have 5 in your house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know that from my observation as somebody that has known you over the years, over time, I won't say, okay, let me say 5 years now. From my observation, I know that you've done good with your children. You've done so well with them.
Thank you if you say so.
but really, how were you able to mold 5 Gen Zs? How are you able to help them in finding their passion and their purpose?
Well, first, I don't see them as Gen Zs.
Okay.
I just see them as children. And I believe that parenting, like every other thing, has its rules, guiding them. I believe that there is a wisdom to apply in parenting. And so it's not whether you are giving Gen Zs to parent or giving Alpha, Millennium. The important thing is that a child is given to you to parent. And there's something that they say that a child comes like a clean slate. And that is what you write on that clean slate that the child will grow up with. For example, I taught my children the magic words of please, sorry, and thank you. And they grew up with it. And so it's just part of them. And I don't know whether the Gen Zs use it or they don't use it, but parenting requires that you grow up children who are well behaved. And so sometimes they come to me and say, Mommy, it's so annoying. Sometimes I just wish I'm not so into these magic words. Because you meet people, they'll collect something from, they can't even say thank you. And then somebody bumps you, they can't even say sorry. And then somebody, they just complain and say, well, you will not look at what they are supposed to do that they didn't do. Be conscious of yourself. So parenting Gen Zs, well, I started to just parent my children in the way I understand properly. And maybe they will not be so much affected like other people in the negatives, if there are the negatives of their era.
Okay,
You
so
understand?
what you're saying is that you have parented your children to a point where they are above peer pressures.
Exactly, because that's one of the things that you do. Because if you start early to bond with your children, start early to teach them in a very light mood. Now, let me tell you one of the ways I trained and I still remember vividly. First, there's an article I wrote, I don't know whether I read it, when I was talking about this idea of morning devotions, and then every church, just keying in by 6, by 7, everybody's praying online. I said it is not for everybody, except there are specific times, like in my church, every 3 hours they pray. So you may not join the 6 a.m., you can join them in the 9 a.m. That morning time is the time to bond with your children. It's the time to teach them the word of God. It's the time to be with them, solve issues, in a very relaxed atmosphere. So if you begin early to point them to the way that is right. So one of the things I used to do is that I used to cut out newspaper items or photocopy. If let's I say I see someone says how I made my first class. Like for example, every time that there's a convocation, you see journalists go and seek the most intelligent, ask them how did you take us, so they'll take them. I didn't have boyfriends, which was like a running testimony. Then I didn't do this. There's one that struck me. They said they never set aside Saturday as my wash day, as a relaxation day. So one said every time that she went to bath, she washed, because it's just one dress or two. She just washed. You appreciate? So we have all those curtains. Then I have curtains where they say my friends misled me, how I joined armed robbery. We used to have these friends, and then we used to hang out. So when I make those photocopies, I give everybody. Then we all read it, and I'll now ask them, tell me from your own point of view, what did you learn? So everybody say, I learned this, I learned this, I learned this, I learned, in a very relaxed atmosphere, because nobody likes to be told, just putting it, this is what you must do, this is how you must do. It becomes boring, and they can rebel. But if it's in form of a friend, you know how you relate with your friends. You can argue with your friends, and you still go back and say, I beg, foolish girl, let's be going. You should be able to relate with your children, where they will not bear a hurt forever, where they will understand that everything that you're saying, teaching them, and that the best way in a relaxed atmosphere.
Wow, because I know a number of persons that they didn't turn out well, but when you go back to where they are coming from, you see that okay, their parents did everything that they should, provided a conducive atmosphere, trained them in a godly way, and yet they still gave in to peer pressure. So in your own case now, teaching them with real life examples and teaching them in a way that is not so would I say so boring, and put it that way, probably it had a good effect on them.
Yes, but I think again, for people to wake up and say, these people parented their children well, show them the way to go, everything. It's a lot of assumption that because if, for example, you lock up your children in a house and say they don't go out, and then you do morning, if you pray with them, you're not exposing them, you're not letting them fly, and then now we parented them well. You understand? It may not be what it's supposed to be, because I remember when we were in school, they used to say that the people who become wild in school were those that led a sheltered life. And then when they now get to school, they say freedom. I can't believe that I'm breathing fresh and nobody's on my neck.
Wow.
But so I knew that one of the things that my mother did for me was carry me along. Because a lot of people think that when a child is small, they don't have sense. They have sense. So even if it's a 3-year-old, you say, come, mommy, I want chocolate, I want biscuits, and you call them and say, look, there is an illness that comes when you eat too much sweet. This is the result. At age, people, they don't take time. You don't breathe down on a child. You dialogue. Even God said, come, let us reason together. To man, ordinary man. Who are we to reason with God? And even if, sometimes you even find yourself arguing with God. and at the end, of course, you will have an upper, but it will allow you to express yourself.
Yeah.
So why would your own child not express herself? So you can even have a three. This is what you want? Okay, you want me to buy Spider-Man vest for you, and you already have this. If I buy it, you will not be able to do a party because I don't have a lot of money. So do you want a party or do you want Spider-Man vest? Then the child will not think, okay, mommy, let's do party. So it's you that you want party. Say, that's fine with me. Do you understand? So so when you sit where you are and then you now say they parented her well, the parents. Okay, I know a pastor's child. We went for a picnic. I went for a picnic and we invited her, and they were so happy. You know what they said? They said, that we don't have time for this kind of a family outing thing because our own is from the house to the church back to triangular. They are not even giving the child room to be happy, to explore all of those. A human being is made up of the spiritual side of them, the social side of them, the finance, and all of this must come together to make a perfect whole. So any part that is not attended to, there is a problem there. There's a problem there. So when you want to now be too hasty in saying they brought them up well and then they later went into peer pressure, that also becomes an assumption because there might be an area that they are rebelling against. That has led them to that. People can ask questions, just like you're saying. If you brought up a child in an atmosphere where they can ask questions, they can bring their concerns to you, their chances of falling off the cliff
very slim. Yes,
they might fall off the cliff. You know, there's one analogy I always give, which I love so much. I said, you know, there's this analogy where they say Jesus said in 100 sheep that if one strays, he will leave the 99 and bring one. So what I always say is this: what he's saying is that one can stray. One can decide to stray. You may not be able to stop it from one of them being different. But the good thing is, if you parented them well, at some point in their life, they're probably going to stop.
Their steps.
And say, man, then this is not it, and they'll start coming back home. That's it.
You're talking about exposure, and I know you're somebody that exposes your kids to a lot.
Yes.
Like Chukwemeka, your only son, your first son and only son. I knew when he was a performing poet. And now he's a big time chef.
Well, he's gone into computer, but anyway.
Oh, he's gotten into computer now. Wow.
Okay.
Okay. So why do you allow them? Why do you allow them to do so many things before they finally settle on their interests?
To start with, Nigeria got to a stage where there were no jobs. I remember in those days, you're coming out, there's a job for you. And so there are no jobs, and then so if people are waiting for white collar jobs, if you're only trained to have a white collar job, it just reduces your chances. And so by the time I was having children, it hadn't become so bad, but the signs were there. That was number one reason. The second reason is this: time. It's a currency that I don't know how many millions can pay for it. So if you work for yourself, or if God has helped you to be able to understand yourself and do something, you find that it's like you're the owner of a clinic and you have the structures are running very well. You're not, if you have a holiday, if you have something to attend urgently, you will go now. You know, your child put to bed, you will not go and say, let me go and collect permission from the medical director. Yeah, the owner of the hospital. He said, please let me go and attend to my child for 3 weeks. But having worked, I have worked, I know the merits in working. It's plenty. Your happiness is tied to one man or one woman. If the woman is a happy boss, happy, all of you will be happy. If she's sad, you know, because you go to some place, they say, why don't allow how can you not allow somebody will call you and insult you morning, afternoon, you face the mirror, I'm the best that God has created, and you walk into the office, say, are you a dunce? I'm beginning to think that you're a dunce. I honestly, because so I wanted my children to have choices. and the power to walk away from any situation that is unfavorable.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any skill, like some people say, what will I do now? We say, well, I want to live, but I'm not good at anything.
Yeah.
If you don't have any skill, whatever is presented to you, that is
That's
what you
will
take.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And you know, but again, as a woman, sometimes you cannot even determine how your life will be. Because if, let's say, you get married to someone, imagine that you marry someone who becomes acting general manager of a bank, and then maybe you two, you are growing in your field, and then he says, I'm working so hard and I need my family with me. He say, even me, to have a job, we have to protect me, we have to find a way that we can do it. No, he's an AGM, you resign. But then if you resign and go to meet him, you must be active. There must be something you're doing. So if you imagine that you have a skill, you're a baker, do you understand? Or you are even a photographer or anything. You just try. It's the only thing that take you a little while to get your customers. But even with your husband, you just move. So a woman most times cannot even determine, you know, how they want to. Maybe marry somebody diploma, they've posted him outside Nigeria,
yeah.
And then I say, no, I'm not going to follow him, I will be here, and then you'll be there. You might lose your marriage in the process.
That's true. That's true. And your 5 children, the first one is
oh yeah, my first daughter is a documentary photographer.
Okay.
That's what she calls herself. Because sometimes I get jobs for her to do. Say, mommy, I'm not sure I want to do it. Very politely, because it's not aligning with my vision. My second daughter, she learned what you call that, makeup in Mod Cosmetics, and then because she's so talented on her own, she learned how to braid, how to tie scalp, how to barb, you know, very well. She barbs guys. She learned a lot of all of these skills. She braids her hair by herself. She's not in the country now. She's in Iceland. So, and then of course she did. She's doing her masters too. My third daughter is an engineer, but she's into vision board. She likes public speaking. I know that she's a graphic designer. Right now, she manages websites. She manages a lot of people's social websites behind the scene. She writes. She has a lot of remote jobs. She writes very well too. She writes for outside companies outside, and she manages artists. You know, and she does so many things. She anchors events too, but she doesn't want to really face it. But she's very good. She does a lot of video outputs and all that. So that's her field. My son became a performance poet at age 7. Of course, so that means that once they skip, because the idea is plant it. Yeah. Even if they don't do it, 1 year later, some years later,
even a decade later,
they will now remember that, I beg, let me go back to this thing.
Yeah.
And then again, when he finished secondary school, my children were like, let's send to gap year. That he's too young to enter the university. They were scared of maybe entering university, joining. It's not like it's bad, but they peer. So we said, what will you do? He's the best cook in the house, even though that is a guy. And they're very caring. I mean, he's the person that wake up in the morning and come and meet me. Mommy, what do you want to eat? And give you options, prepare it and bring for you. Even as the sisters are watching you. And so we now sent him to a culinary school, which cost a lot, but he learned to be a chef at age 17, but he's now gone into the university. I remember when I sent him, he said to me, Mommy, you know, when he sent me to that culinary school, I was not really very happy, because all my friends were in university. But now I'm so grateful to you that you thought about sending me there. I don't know, maybe I'll ask him why later. But I guess everybody's telling him, you are so lucky, and your mother, you are so lucky, maybe. And then my last Chinedu is hands-on. She likes to review books. She's extra smart. After secondary school, again, I sent her to French school, because she loves French.
Je parle français.
She had all A's in this French school.
Yeah.
And then she's in university right now. And I will remember the other things that she does. she does book reviews very, very well. And then she's a leadership, she's, tending into leadership focus, because I know that her departmental, though she was in year one, she was the campaign manager of her department, of the association's president. The guy had to call me to tell me that, without your daughter I won't have won. I said, but it's just year one. I said, yes, but so everybody, of course, the more as you grow too, you can acquire more knowledge. Like I saw sign language and I thought that's what Chinedu can do well.
Okay.
And I sent her a message, I said, Chinedu, you should consider doing sign language. And she said, okay, mommy, when I come back.
Wow.
Because in my mind, I'm sure that there are not too many people who are into sign language. And if she's already doing French, which is a language, she can as well, learn sign language.
And work with the African Union.
And work with them. She learned how to sew. I remember that when she learned how to sew, she started making her school uniforms by herself. She learned how to do beads, makes beautiful design. But after a while, I said, Mommy, that's sewing. I'm not sure. I want to continue with it.
Okay, so you encourage them to explore different interests.
Yes.
Till they
find out, because I remember that there's the documentary photographer. I started that with taking her to braiding. So she did very well, but she now came and said, I'm not sure I want to learn braiding. I said, well, the good thing is you can comb your hair, you can wash it, you can treat it. Even if it's what we learned, fine.
Okay.
And then we now started thinking, what next? And then we went into photography, and where she has kind of remained.
Okay, now that brings me to you, because I think you are giving your children what you have. Because over the years or over the decades, you yourself, you have explored different career paths. You've been a practicing lawyer, you've been a banker, you're a writer, you've authored 10 books. And now you are now an MC extraordinaire, as you would like to describe yourself. So what support system did you have growing up that made you explore this different career paths, and you were successful in all of them?
Well, they said I'm successful. Where's my Lamborghini? Okay. I think for me, really, money is not everything. For me, happiness, joy in what you're doing. The moment you find out that what you're doing, you're no longer satisfied. You wake up in the morning and just think about going to work. First of all, it's time to move on. Why? Because life is too short to be miserable. So, and life is in phases, right? And again, you have to look at personality. I did one personality test recently, and it was said I was a campaigner, I was into many things, and new ideas come, I jump to them, and we all have our personalities. There's some people who can only do one thing. Like, I'll tell someone I can write 5 books at the same time, they say no, unless they finish one book before they could do another. So that is us and are different. And then it's important that you embrace yourself. It's important that you find happiness in yourself and in your abilities. I read English before reading law, and by age 27, I've done English law school. I read English because I couldn't get into law. I was 2 marks below cutoff point, and so they gave me English. And so my daddy says, you're young. You can finish English and go back to law, which was what I did. And when I finished during youth service, I taught English literature and English to the students of Federal Women College, Sokoto. And I remember that when I was going, they wanted to even retain me because the students spoke very highly of me, which just goes to show my commitment. If I decide to do something, I am committed towards doing that thing. Then I had to go back to school to read law. I finished law. I practiced law for 7 years. Retired and go majorly. It was a strong litigation firm. I went to court every day for 5 days of the week. I had my 3 children while practicing law. And then eventually I got an offer to join the bank. So I get into the bank and I worked for 13 years. And it got to a point where the routine, I wasn't enjoying it.
So monotonous.
Yes, and then I started writing. I discovered that I wrote all this while I stopped when I was practicing law. So while in the bank, I picked up writing.
Okay.
And like for how many years, I woke up every time between 12 and 2 and I wrote till morning. Every single day. And it was while I was in the bank that I won Anna Award.
Okay.
While I was in the bank, I got to the finals of NLNG,
Yeah.
which was 100,000. That was it, but everybody was surprised. My boss, the management, the MD was like, as a banker, how? And of course, you can say maybe she was writing during the bank. You cannot use bank's 1 hour to do your personal work.
That's true.
Everything I did was after that. So by the time I was doing 13 years, I was getting heavily dissatisfied, the routine. I wasn't enjoying the time leaving the house in the morning, coming back in the evening. I had a lot of things to do for my family.
Yeah.
I couldn't do them because time was not letting me do them. So I knew it was time to go. So the question was, what do you want to do? And I didn't think about professional MC. Of course, I started doing public speaking and stuff like that, but I noticed that everywhere in my bank, everywhere they're doing something in my department, they want to present a gift, they'll call me to do it, and all of that. And then a friend of mine was wedding, and she says to me, come and anchor my event, my wedding. I said, how did you know I can anchor? He said, you can do it now, you are bold and you speak well, and you can, I beg, you're going to be the MC of my event. I said, wow. And because I said, well, that was what, shortly before then, I had gone to an event where a female MC comedian was performing, because I do comedy too.
Yeah.
And then she was performing. And one urge, that was the period when I was trying to ask myself, what would I be? In fact, I almost embarrassed myself. One urge was like, go and collect the microphone from me. She's not even, so what is she doing that I can't do? I had to run. Many times I was running out of the hall, coming back into the hall, because the way I was feeling, I could have gone to grab that microphone. That will show you how. In fact, that particular female MC, I invited her to my house for lunch, and I told her the story. So that was an answer to, this is what you should do.
Okay.
Because I almost ruined that party if I didn't hold myself. So I went back that night. I said, God, okay, if you want me to do this, what do I do? Okay, that night for 2 weeks, it was giving me jokes back to back that I've not heard anywhere, not affiliated to anybody. And so, and then shortly after that, my friend comes to me, come and anchor my birthday party, my wedding. I said, how do you know? Said, you will do it. So all of that were confirmation. So by the time I was leaving, but I was now sure I would leave the bank.
Yeah.
I already had, I could be an MC, I could go on with my writing. Like now I've prepared some courses that I want to teach online, how to build your confidence, how to raise, amazing children. What the third one is how to start and finish that book, that kind of thing. So life is, you have to reinvent yourself. You have to evolve now.
Yeah.
Because times that you just have to evolve.
I know there are lots of persons watching
And
us
I
now.
acted last
Yes,
year
yeah,
in
I'm
some
actress
films.
too.
But I went to a film school,
Okay.
and I took my 2 children, Chukwuemeka and Chinedu. I remember that one of the actors asked her, because they now asked me, why did you come to the film school? And then they asked my son, I said, my mom, they said, Aquino, they asked Chinedu. Chinedu said, I don't know, it was my mother that said we should come. And we are now here. Everybody started laughing, so I'm one that believes acquire knowledge.
Yeah.
Like after I acquired the knowledge, I wasn't going from set to set asking to be put, I want to act. I just relaxed. I said, the day they want me, the day somebody now approaches me, it's not the time for me to start learning that in acting you don't face the camera, you face each other. So let me even have that knowledge. And last year, I didn't solicit. Someone came, you should be able to be Mrs. I said, yes, bring the script. I read it, made sense. So I took up. And then another person said, you can act this one. And that's how those 2 filmed. I didn't solicit for them. They sought me out.
Okay. Now, a number of persons that are watching us now, they will have questions on their mind because, sometimes when people want to reinvent themselves, it comes with a lot of, number one, what will people say? Number 2, I'm already a mother, so why should I do it? And number 3, money. Now, a number of persons watching us would want to know, would want to hear from you. What would you advise them to do when they want to reinvent themselves and they have all these challenges. They are already married, they have children, there is no money to delve into that. What advice would you give to them?
Well, life is full of obstacles. Life is full of obstacles. Even a baby. I don't know whether you watched one video where the girl said, must we go to school 5 days? Daddy, can't we just go to school for 4 days? Because I'm tired. Daddy said that's how the world is made. So obstacles must come. But your ability to overcome them is what is very important. Like I was in the bank and I wanted to write. I can't write during the day. I had to make the sacrifice of keeping awake in the night. I remember when my children, because I wanted them to go to after junior secondary school, I wanted them to go to Queen's College. I mean, we won't get into why and all that. And I had to coach them myself. Because of course, if you get a lesson teacher, she will do anything and go collect your money. But if you are coaching, so there's this book that we're using then, Kosiugu. I think they finished it, each person like 3 times. I sacrificed like 2-3 months for them. So when I come back, I tell them the first person I want to see is you. So immediately I come back, they come back with the book. Because before I leave in the morning, I would have given them a test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. So that even if they are playing the highest comic, they can't watch it. And you know why? Because they know that I will wake up at night. So I wake up in the night about 2 o'clock. That's somebody that went to work home. I will wake up in the night about 2 o'clock. I will mark it. I will circle all the ones that they failed. Then I wake you up. There was a period in my house, I used to wake up my children between 4 and 5, by 4 a.m. Because good, early to bed, early to rise. So if you sleep by 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so I wake them up by 4. At first, it was war. They say, go and wash your face. They wash their face. I say, sit down and read. I don't care what you want to read. Can decide to read Bible, can decide to read novel, can decide to read anything, but it's reading time. And then they read, of course, me, I'm already awake. They read up to 6, then we have family devotion. This holiday period. So we have family devotion. I bath and I go to work. I tell them that when I get to work, they say, have your children read today? I say, yes. They read early in the morning. The one I saw with my eyes, I don't care. So, but I did that for a while. Of course, at the beginning, they will not be happy with you.
That's true.
But the thing is that I didn't wake them up and go and sleep. I woke them up. I'm also awake myself. Because that's the problem. You now tell people what to do. So every time you're on your phone, you are with your own phone, you're not reading. And then you want them to drop their own. So if there was nothing
lead by example.
You have to lead by example. So at the end of the day, but you know what it has happened? All of them now, they have a deadline to complete. If they have to work all through the night, it's not strange. They have been trained to do it. So what I'm saying is that obstacles must come. But you find a way around it. Okay, let me give you one of the ways I think. I had a girl in my bank. Because I love people who dress very well. I love fashionistas. All the Triumph Adekunle them. I make them my friends. I may not dress like that, but I love them. I have no room to hate you. So this particular girl, as far as I was concerned, was the best dressed in the bank. So I now called her. I said, look, my dear. And then, you know, I done my book even on talent. I said, look, my dear, you're wasting. Kai, you're wasting. If I had this your talent, what are you doing? I said, you know what you can do? Because now, I said, who styles? She draws the styles herself. She draws the style, then she takes it to a tailor and they make it. So I said, so the only thing left for you to do now is to learn how to sew. Which is a simple thing, because some people learn how to sew. When you take your dresses to them, you still have to give them style. Madam, how do you want the hand? I say, then why did I come to you? You're supposed to be a professional. Then now I'm telling you style. So I said, do you know what to do? Saturday and Sunday, we don't come to work. We don't come to the bank. Find a tailor very close to you. Explain to your husband. Let them do, because you're enlightened and educated. The length of time it will take an illiterate to learn will be different from you. And you already have ideas. I said, every Saturday, go to that tailor's shop. Get a tailor near you. Doesn't have to be a sophisticated. just agree with them that you'll be coming only on Saturday. Then buy sewing machine and keep in your house. Go there on Saturday. Then one of the workers in that place have an arrangement with him on Sunday. On Sunday, when we have gone to church and come back eating, that time that you have been doing siesta, call him. He will come. By 4, he will come and start teaching you. I told her, I said, if you do this every Saturday for 1 year, if you don't become an expert at sewing, call me a fool. Do you understand? So problems are there, but you have to think out of the box. How do I solve it? How do I, how do I make it? How? You must be able to learn how to do it.
That's true.
So there's nobody who doesn't have challenges. If you just wake up, one of the examples I wrote, I said the lady said to me, maybe that your husband doesn't want you to work, wants you to stay at home and take care of the children. Oh my God, perfect. Because the reason why we have a lot of delinquency in the society are because of children who are parents who are they are not handsome.
Yeah.
They didn't show interest. So if I come to them and want me to stay there, I say, but you can find what to do. So while you're sitting down at home, find a business to do. If you learn how to bake, okay, sweetheart, I don't want no problem. But can I learn baking? You can even call someone to come to your house and teach you how to bake. You start to bake, people will come. You're not going anywhere to go and deliver. People will come and take it. You're at home. Your children come back to school. Mommy is around. You understand?
Yeah.
They go in the morning. You prepare them. Within that time that they're out, you're baking. So what I'm saying is, obstacles are there. If you're such a woman, you want to reinvent yourself, you don't know how. If you can't find solution, ask around. I'm sure that you'll be able to get answers to your questions.
Wow. So you'll be able to get answers to your questions. Now let's go back. Let's come back to the Gen Z and the dating scene. You have 3 of your children are up to the age of courtship.
Okay.
Courtship and marriage. Now, how do you feel when you see them, as you see them navigate the dating scene?
Well, everything now depends on family values, because if values are very important, you must have values. So if your children, if you are from a Christian home, and you are bringing up your child in the way of the Lord, so there are certain things that they know they ought not to do. Fornication is off the table. So any dating that wants to include fornication is off the table. And it's not because you go and tell them fornication is bad. You sit down with them and then let's x-ray fornication, the pros and the cons. If you say the chances of getting pregnant, you now say those who will abort, the guilt that comes with abortion that lives with you forever, and then you can lose your life in the process. There are stories of people, first time they slept with a guy, they caught syphilis, because all our destinies are completely different. And then you talk about fornication, you talk about there is no way that you will have peace. You will have peace being a fornicator when you're not properly married. There's that guilt that is there. And so you look at the situation together, and then before you even go to God hates fornicator. No. Look at it on the premise. So there is a proverb in my place that the pastor that you eventually open, that was you pinching the sides. They said it's for you, but you're going to open it by 6 p.m. and the time is for, say, I can't wait. Who knows what is inside? I said, be careful, just keep it there. By 6 you open. So it's not like somebody is depriving you of something that you will never have opportunity of doing. Now, it will also help you to know the kind of person who wants to marry you. Because if you're dating someone and he's making moves to sleep with you and you say no, and he's trying to insist, and he's trying to blackmail you, and he's trying to say it's because you don't love me, and because you do this, then there's a problem. Because that means that you're marrying somebody who has no self-control. And that lack of self-control is going to run in the marriage. Because by the time he decides that, I'm used to I want another person, that lack of self-control will follow him. And so I don't see anything wrong with dating. But you don't just date any and every person. Somebody just comes to you and say, we are just dating. No. If I remember that someone saying to someone, if you look at somebody and if the person asks you to marry them and your answer is probably going to be no, don't
What's
bother.
the essence? Yeah.
Don't
That's
bother.
true.
So it's not every time that you now bring this person and dating this person. 1 minute this person is over, you bring in another person. No. Before you even get to the level of I'm dating this person, think it through. If this person eventually wants to marry me, will I agree? You understand? Will I say yes? So, but family values very, very important. And so again, if any child is friendly with someone and they want to bring them home, it's not the time for you to say no. In those days they say man and a woman cannot be friends, just besties, because they can be tempted. Yes, we all know that. But you see, if it is even in the dark, that's worse. You understand? So that's my view about it. Fornication must be off the table, because it just shows that you don't have any restraint. And if you eventually get married, go and ask the married people. Every day they're teaching the women, talking to the women, stop having headache, stop saying So if fornication was the answer, it would have answered all sexual problems in the home.
In the home,
No,
yes.
it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, let's take for instance that we are in a time traveling machine, or you enter a time traveling machine, and you go back in time when you've not had kids, you're not married. What is one thing that you would do differently?
What is one thing that I would do if I'm not married? Honestly, it's what would one thing I would have done? It's a very difficult question for me. I just enjoy life. I mean, like if you go to my work, most of the time you see me either dancing or doing one thing. I just enjoy life, because you see, there are many people who are having. If you think you have a horrible story, listen to other people. You understand? So whatever life, I don't know what I would have said that. Everything is a learning. The Bible says all things are working together for my good. So I really don't know what I would have loved to do. I think I'm just happy. I'm just happy with where I am. I'm not wishing to be anything or to be anybody. I'm just happy.
Wow, that's really good.
For example, I'm just believing God that the children by God's grace, will grow up to be very successful in all their careers and turn back to put joy to me.
Yeah.
You understand? So I always say to them, there's a special joy when somebody buys something for you than you bought it for yourself. I mean, like I'm wearing this dress is so nice. It was a gift to my dear sister. In fact, for the past 2 years now, I've not bought anything for myself. And then if you're a generous person, you now have money to meet the needs of so many other people. And then you're just basking in. I remember my phone, iPhone, because I love to take pictures. And then my children are like, this is your phone. We're going to contribute money to buy you a phone. So I said, then they said, Mom, we're not giving you the money because we know you. We may give it to you now, use it for something else. And then they bought that phone and they gave me. So every time I look at that phone, I just thank God. It gives me a special joy. The joy that if I bought it with my money, I won't have.
Yeah.
So I think just enjoy where you are at the moment and try to make the best out of it.
Right. Now, as we round off, I need 2 words from you. 1, advice to the younger generation that are trying to find their purpose, their voice, their individual agency. Advice to them. Then secondly, advice to people probably in their mid-50s, mid-40s, early 50s that are also trying to find themselves. A lot of persons will be like, okay, I know you're up to 40, you should be able to have figured it out. But you'll be surprised to interview a 50-year-old and who is still confused about what they want to do. Yes. Yeah. So as we round up, 2 an advice each for these categories of people.
First, to the Gen Z, it's not everybody that has the opportunity to have parents that are enlightened enough. Not enlightened as per academics, enlightened about the ways of the world and can guide you. My only advice is that you seek out mentors. You seek out people that, you know, that can read. I know that a couple of my children's friends call me from time to time. They'll just call me off the, or my daughter will say, Mommy, there's one of my friends that is going to call you. She's having problem in this area. Mommy, please advise her. So if a Gen Z, you grew up in a home that you know how it is and all that, please seek for mentors. The role of mentorship, the mentors in your life, you can't be overemphasized. Then for the other person, I'm in my 50s and I'm MCing. You have to know that there's a proverb in my place that says that the time you wake up is your money. First and foremost, you are not owing nobody. Your life is your life. If you decide to feel miserable about the time that's gone, life will help you to really feel miserable. It will show in your outlook. If you decide to embrace it, why are you just waking up to it? My dear, that's when I've woken up. You know, I remember going to comedy in Mandy. That's a long time ago. And so when I got up, I used it to crack joke. I said, I'm sure that some of you will say, what is this old woman doing? What has she been doing since? I said, okay, let me tell you what I've been doing since. I read English, I read law, I practiced, I practiced law for 7 years. I worked in the bank for 13 years, and now I'm doing MC. They started to clap. So what ought to have been a joke on me, what ought to have led them to look down on me, now turned out to something that was amazing. I mean, like, people are coming to my seat and say, wow, you're such an inspiration. So what has happened? Whatever you're going through, turn it around. Turn it around. Like now, what's her name? Kate Henshaw has that her exercising thing at the age of she's dancing, she's exercising. She has something that other people don't have. So if you're there, your mid-40s and mid-50s, I tell my children there's so many things that are yet to be discovered. Hey, so many businesses, so many, life may just be waiting for you to discover one of them. But because you're spending more time looking at your age is not is such a number. Charlie boy, and we see him still young, still vibrant. Age is just a number, and it's what you make it. If you go and be telling people I'm this age, well, they'll be reminding you. But if you keep silent about it and work hard, that's it.
That's very true. It has been a very incisive, very enlightening and inspirational session, and I know a number of persons out there, they would have picked one or two things. Age is just a number. Exactly. You can discover yourself at any time. Even people will say, so it's left for you to know what you want to do, find your purpose, find your passion, find your voice, brand yourself, and be the best you have to be. Thank you so very much, Ma, for coming. And we look forward to having you again. We look forward to having you again, honestly. Thank you so very much for coming.
Pleasure.
Thank you for all the nuggets that you've dropped on the conversation on the couch today. Thank you so very much. And we look forward to having you again. Please don't forget to like, to subscribe, to also share this video. Share it with somebody that would need this voice of inspiration today. And till we come your way again on the Humans of Abuja podcast, it's bye-bye.